Oh, hi all. It's Susie again from Esoteric Trading Solutions. I hope you're all well. I hope you're living the life that you want to. You're being kind to yourself, being kind to your family and friends, being kind to your animals, and being kind to just people in general to make this world a better place. I thought I'd do one on what's wrong with Ethereum. Sorry if I pronounce that incorrectly. Ethereum. The Ethereum underperformed last month in August, and it was probably down about 40%. And I'm, trying to look at the pros and cons of what came out in the market in August, particularly, and looking at the fundamentals to why it underperformed the way it did, and whether that underperformance is going to be the case going forward. So. It's a fairly long YouTube today, so you can either watch it or just turn me off, one of the two. But just some of the things that I saw over the month that I'd bring to your attention. Obviously, with my channels, I have my own business, as you know, Esoteric Trading Solutions. There is a membership there. Basically, you get all that if you're the standard membership, 230 US a year. We do a lot. We talk about cryptocurrencies. You get access to our portfolio picks and model portfolio, daily updates. We have channels for about at least 35 cryptocurrencies, and everything's updated on a daily basis. I do all sorts of videos and PowerPoints and educational stuff as well, and you get access to a lot of different members from all over the world. And also just the premium service, you get access to more one-on-one and a lot more help and individual crypto reports and teaching you exactly how to set up a proper portfolio that's diverse and that sort of thing. Even in crypto land, you can have diversification. Obviously some cryptos do better than others, some go down by worse than others, and some do perform. So just enough of that. This is basically educational only. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know your risk tolerance, your financial position, or your cash needs. So this is education only. So getting into it. Basically, the negative that happened with Ethereum over the month of August, it's only August because it there's a lot that comes out in any one cryptocurrency. Ethereum's price was down about 40%. It could have been down worse than that. But there was a lot of negative press that came out for Ethereum in the month of August. And some of this negative press, and then we'll look at the positive and going forward. BitMEX CEO said Ethereum was SH_T coin and would go down to $100, which was pretty extreme. Basically believed that the price had been going up simply because of all the ICOs that were done last year, which I thought was a bit rough. But anyway, Justin Sun from Tron was out there saying that Tron, he believed, was 200 times faster than Ethereum. Tron was better, quicker, and with lower fees. So he was out there jawboning that he was his blockchain was a much better blockchain than Ethereum's. And don't forget, Tron was on Ethereum's blockchain. So Justin certainly knows what it's like to be on Ethereum's blockchain. You also had Charles Hoskin out there, Cardano, saying that his smart contracts would be better than Ethereum's. You even had Elon Musk out there thinking that Ethereum's a scam, but he still wants some of it, which doesn't make sense to me at all. Some people believe that Ethereum was being sold down due to the underperforming ICOs on its platforms that are cashing out. I need to have a think about that to see how that works in terms of Ethereum itself. But as you know, at least 2 and 3 ICOs this year have been absolute disasters, or they've been scams, and most people who have invested in ICOs for the whole year have actually lost money. So there's a lot of ICOs that aren't performing. You also had Joseph Lubin, who's the founder of Ethereum, saying that Ripple is dominating the market news with positive news, and he's right about that. Obviously, I will put a plug in here for XRP. They should be higher than where they are. There's no doubt about that. Also, I was speaking to one of my clients, and they said they used to mine Ethereum, and they said there's no money in mining Ethereum anymore, which I thought was interesting. So I'll bring that to your light as well. So it just seems Ethereum blockchain was under a lot of attack. Obviously, network spamming issues causing congestion, the price of Ethereum going up in the base fee, and transactions not going through at all for the month of August. If we go to the next slide, basically more negative news. Microsoft brought out a new Ethereum blockchain product that gets rid of mining. So again, they're in direct competition with Ethereum now. A new blockchain as a service called BaaS that allows business to basically, have a bit more flexibility with no mining, which gets rid of the issue of how long it takes it for a transaction to go through. Also, There was other things that people were talking about, but you also had this argy-bargy between Charles Hoskinson of Cardano and Vitak Buterin of Ethereum, basically, saying, one accusing each of the other. Charles saying that, they were trying to look at different code or something and they couldn't find it and this and that, and saying that, it's not what it's made out to be. People were basically saying that Ethereum's decline, their extreme decline on one of the days, I think it was down 15% or something, was due to ICOs cashing out. So we'll go over that a bit more. Also, you had Stellar out there also saying that Ethereum wasn't as good as Stellar, and that the Stellar fellow, I forget his name, it's probably there somewhere, Christian someone, was basically saying that he basically had an expletive saying that it's slow, it's effing expensive, and it fails to act like you want it to. One counter doing a lot, and so there's all these people out there in other blockchains really kicking in the boot in for poor Ethereum. Another guy who came out and said Ethereum's adoption with apps network, something about that, it's not what they should be and all this sort of business. So you can look up that article there. There's all this sort of thing that came out. This is just for one cryptocurrency in the month of August. Apps are built on Ethereum, and then someone else came out with a report, this one here, that Ethereum, has been a failure when it's come to being when it comes to apps being built on its system. There's only 4 apps on its system, and there's only about 500 daily users, and that it's not working to how it should be. So complete disaster. They even mentioned EOS, which only has 2 apps on its system. So again, not great. EOS still uses, it's gone to its own blockchain just recently, but it did use Ethereum. So you can see how much information comes out just about one cryptocurrency to why potentially it's been going down in the month of August. So all this was pretty much negative stuff. More negative stuff. A report that came out from TechCrunch said that the collapse of Ethereum is inevitable. Why did they come out with this stuff when Ethereum was trading at 1200 US? And they said that Ethereum should go to 0, which I thought was a bit rough as well. And if you look at that report, obviously Vitalik Buterin's going to disagree with that. And then there was this fellow Jeremy Rubin talking about Ethereum and saying that there's other blockchains are going to be better, and Ethereum is becoming worthless. So poor Vitalik, what's his name? I can never say his name properly. Butterick, whatever his name is, had to cop up with all this stuff in the month of August. Must have thought, God, everyone's taken their Ethereum bashing pills or something. But seriously, when the crypto market goes nasty, it really goes nasty. So just looking at the ICO thing with Ethereum, obviously there's been, hundreds of ICOs that have put their ICOs on Ethereum platform. And, some people said that a lot of the ICOs actually bought Ethereum tokens, and with those Ethereum tokens, and whether they've had to convert them from the ICO or back again, and they were still holding these Ethereum tokens. So some projects, and I think it came from BitMEX, accused some of the projects such as Sandbase and Trust Nodes, both reported were selling large sales from both parties, amounting to about 100 to 125,000 Ethereum, which was worth about 40 million, and that was driving the market down. Could be true, it could not, maybe it's not true, I don't know, but this is what was in the press, if you believe the press. And then there was someone else saying that these autonomy and CEO of BitMEX was also saying that effectively they were selling Ethereum as well, and that's pretty why he called Ethereum an SHIT coin, and that it would drop below $100. So have a look at that link there. So there was a lot of negative stuff that came out. And I won't go into that. There was also positive news, but the market just seemed to be focusing on negative news. So pretty much, really took a pounding, and whether it's going to continue to take that pounding, I suppose we'll see, in the next couple of weeks. So a lot going on there. So if we go to, the next things that are coming up, well, futures are also in the air as well with Ethereum, and we know what happened with Bitcoin last year. Essentially, Bitcoin futures went on the CBOE, Chicago Board of Exchange, last year in October. Bitcoin drove up to 20,000 odd, and then they just hammered Bitcoin straight down. And maybe that's going to happen with Ethereum. We don't know, but the thing is, it gives the fund managers or the institutional or the professional traders now an opportunity to start short selling Ethereum without even owning Ethereum. So that's always a bit of a worry, obviously, for the price action of Ethereum. Also, there's another thing here. A former Uber engineer has built a decentralized exchange that lets investors short Ethereum on a trustless platform. And obviously the CBOE is waiting for the US Commodity Futures Trading Commission to actually give the okay to launch Ethereum futures. So I would probably think that's going to be by the end of the year for sure. And the question is, will that now provide the bears even more opportunity to short Ethereum, and the price goes lower and lower? So on the positive side, though, and I always like to finish with positive news, CBA, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, which is from Australia, of course, used Ethereum blockchain to ship 17 tons of almonds using Ethereum blockchain from Mildura to Hamburg. And they said they're still questioning finding the ideal blockchain. They said they did use Ethereum, but they noted that there might be other options that might be better in the future. And they're looking at other parties. Now, I will say Commonwealth Bank of Australia is using Ripple, and internally they do use XRP as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was a stronger link with Ripple's technology and Ripple going forward. And they basically say it in this statement here, and you can certainly look that up, that article. Also, Ethereum payments being enabled through Opera Baraza. Also, there was another settlement through the World Bank, a first digital bond to be done, which is amazing, and that was done by the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. Now, the reason why it's done by the Commonwealth Bank of Australia is the biggest bank in Australia. They're very well known, globally, they're very well known. They're one of the most profitable. They are one of the most profitable banks in the world out of the big four here in Australia, and very well known and have quite a lot of clients globally as well as domestically. So also the Moscow government planned to use Ethereum as a part of a system allocating trading spots during the week as the farmers' weekend or something. So that was a good positive news, but Ethereum didn't seem to go up on any of this stuff. Origin Protocol also was using Ethereum to put their application on. We look at the Ethereum also, got another client mines machines. So that was another good thing. And also Nimbus is going to implement Ethereum as well. So, there's quite a few good things, but obviously the market was looking very much at the negative things. Also, as an announcement, Barclays have a new partnership between Barclaycard and Crowds, a blockchain startup, and they're going to be using Ethereum as well. Steve Wozniak of Apple fame basically said he wasn't backing Ripple or Bitcoin, and he was looking at Ethereum for his new project. And also, the World Bank here, they did the bond, which they dubbed Bondi Bond for Bondi Beach, and it was the first operated new debt instrument by blockchain, which I think is very apt. And and which I would have thought was a positive. In the CBA said they're looking at other blockchain as well. Then you had John, I won't pronounce his last name, of Osmogo. Obviously, these guys still use Ethereum for their blockchain, their platform. Said that Ethereum's doing a lot of things going forward in 2019 and 2020, which is going to give them more scale and much more things going on. And he mentioned all these things here, which I won't go into. So there were quite a lot of things going out in positive, but obviously people in crypto land look at the negatives more than they look at the positives. Not that I'm supporting Ethereum by any means. Me personally, I haven't liked Ethereum for a long time. That's my own personal opinion. It's not financial advice, and it's not telling you how to invest or anything else. I've never liked Ethereum myself, but I'd like to have a balanced weighted argument here for the pros and cons to why why did the Ethereum contract go down as much as it did. Also Bitman, who obviously mines Bitcoin, have said they're going to do mining for Ethereum, which is interesting. Maybe what my client said is there's no money in Ethereum anymore, and maybe this is what's going on. The big guys are getting into mine Ethereum as well, which is not a great story. So also, there's something about, the developers looking at different code and changing some of the code of Ethereum, and maybe there's a possible hard fork which is playing on the market as well, called Constantinople. So you can look at that being bad news or good news, depending on which way you want to look at that, whether it's good for it to be faster, or whether it's bad news because there's another hard fork coming, and people don't tend to like hard forks because no one uses the coin later, or they like hard forks because they actually get free coins. You can mount an argument for positive or negative on that. And this is only the news over August, so you can appreciate when we're looking into coins and really wanting to know the background of something, we follow every story, we look at everything, and we analyze everything, so that when we make an investment into anything, we're absolutely sure that we've got a sound investment, particularly on fundamental basis, because obviously valuations should be based on fundamental basis as well as technical. Then it's quite a lot to this slide, actually. I've done too much here, but if you go to, just pushing this down so you can see it, if you go, there's a link there, just all the different stakeholders, which would be the developers and the investors and the founders and whatnot. So obviously there's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of argy-bargy to which way they want to go in September with Ethereum, to how they want to develop Ethereum. The issues that are set aside are their issuance, the difficulty bomb, and the ASIC resistance. So there's miners, investors, and developers which will have to agree to that. So it's going to be very interesting going forward to see exactly what happens here, whether this is potentially going to be a negative going forward. Also, there was a meeting on the 24th, but looks like there's going to be another meeting, and nothing changed since that last meeting. But obviously it's going to be causing a lot of a lot of debate, and you're going to see a lot of stories in the press re Ethereum. So I guess the thing is, ultimately, with futures coming and everything else, and just the potential for hard fork and people not agreeing, you probably may see some more weakness in Ethereum going forward. Unfortunately, if you're a holder, it's not a nice place to be, particularly if you're holding Ethereum at the moment. But the market does seem to be focusing on the negatives of Ethereum, and there's been a lot of positives as well, but I guess the thing is, there's been a lot of switching as well. So this is just for education only, guys. I just wanted to present you very quickly. I know there's a lot there. Just the facts that came out re Ethereum over the month of August, and we'll see how she goes this month. Anyway, guys, look after yourself. Here's the disclaimer: it's only education only. Just for education and learning purposes. And I hope you're all well. And if you want to get more information, you can think about joining my subscriptions. There is a lot to know when you invest in things. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to talking to you again. Thank you, Susie. Look after yourselves. Thank you.